from when you look at all those lean startup, they go through this customer validation process, right? You validate got market first or not lah. Don't think you turn up, you win half the battle. You think you BTS, man. You turn up, people sure will come to the airport and fetch you, man.
Welcome to Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut.
And I'm Dawn, SG Budget Babe. Today we have someone that you guys might recognize from previous episodes. But
Amazon bestseller today.
Yeah,
He's no
something has
longer the
changed.
same person. Yes.
Talk got air already.
yeah, got air, got talk, got feel. But yes.
Yeah, so for those of you who may not recognize him, we'll leave him to reintroduce himself. Adrian, over to you.
Okay, got new byline already.
New byline.
And I've been workshopping for some time. So I'm a fractional chief marketing officer.
That's the old byline.
Still doing that lah. Still doing that. HR key opinion leader.
Sorry, I cannot take it.
And cannot lah. Okay, then I'll change it later.
You can continue.
And of course, I'm also doing the book, which we'll be talking about, which recently just went into pre-order, called No More Bosses, The Journey to Sustainable Self-Employment, which is part story, part guide.
Nice. I mean, I thought you guys were doing a very successful podcast. What happened to it?
Oh, that one got fired.
Is that?
Got fired. No, I mean, as with all things, I believe they have this rotational schedule. So people get moved around. Unfortunately, when they move, no chair already.
No,
So I fell onto the ground. Yeah.
Okay,
So right now, but the Worky podcast is still ongoing.
Nice.
It has been taken over by a new producer, Tiffany, and also by career coach counselor, Gerald Tan, which happens also to be a friend of mine.
Okay, great. Then you can join our show already lah. I say, I open a new chair for you, right? The musical chair can continue, yeah? But yeah, today we are here to talk about your book, right? So Amazon bestseller, tell us about your book, right?
Yes.
What is it about?
So this Amazon bestseller, every sentence must say that.
Amazon bestseller.
Emphasize.
Yeah.
So it's essentially about my journey to become self-employed. And when we were looking at, of course, different angles, different books with the publisher, this wasn't actually the original idea. The original idea got shot down.
What was your original idea?
Original idea, straight away, I actually told her, because of my, I guess, proficiency with the HR market, I told the publisher, hey, why don't we do something about HR technology, something I can easily talk about. And she asked me, how big is the market? Oh, Singapore, maybe about 55,000 HR people. 10%, 5,000, no, market too small. Next idea. So we looked at something else, and then this came about. But the title came in quite quickly. Yeah, the No More Bosses angle, which I really like. I think that came quite swiftly, because no matter what, when I first decided to start my very first business, it was because of that intention. I was facing almost three consecutive retrenchment, and it led me to starting a recruitment business with a few friends of mine. And the primary motivation was, I won't fire myself. So in a way, no more bosses. So that's how the whole thing came about. And of course, to put it into more of a structured guide, to help people out there who may be looking at a mid-career switch into self-employment, people whom I've interacted with, I've seen many of them become consultant and all that. But then when they go into the market, they realize, wow, it's a huge struggle. Yeah, it's very different from what they read online, what they've seen their friends doing. So hopefully it gives them some inspiration and some roadmap on how to proceed from here.
Elaborate a little bit more on the huge struggle. I'm sure everybody got their own struggles when they enter this space, trying to do their own thing. What are some memorable bits?
What were yours?
Personally, I also struggle because, okay, my definition of self-employment is more solopreneur. Yeah, although over the past many years, I've done like 5-6 different businesses. So for solopreneur per se, this is my second rodeo. My first one was back in 2014 as a career coach. That one struggled because there was no addressable market. Addressable market not significant enough.
Right.
Yeah, so very hard to make ends meet. Yeah, even today, I know career coaches who are drawing a few $100s a month. In Singapore, how to survive?
Yeah.
You can't survive one. Yeah, probably a temple monk make more money than you, just by begging. So to me, it doesn't make sense. It's not sustainable. And even if you look at right now, the more in thing for mid-career people, right, is executive coach. Wow, I tell
Suddenly
you,
everyone's an executive.
everyone,
yeah,
all of
yeah.
us here can be executive
Yeah,
coach
yeah,
one. Yeah, there's no parking one. But the thing is, I've seen so many of them that I actually did a bit of research. In Asia, guess the average income for an executive coach. I know Asia very
1K.
big lah. Just guess
Yeah,
a number
I
lah.
have no clue.
1K.
Annual income.
Or annual 12K.
Well,
15K.
you
That one a bit low.
that one a bit low lah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the number
30?
the number according to ICF, which is the governing body or the one that actually give you the ICF
The coaching license.
Coaching
cert,
cert.
Yeah.
puts down the figure at $39K US dollar. Yeah, annual income, which is decent. But if you compare to a lot of mid-career professionals, right, where they came from, I was head of IT.
That's 1/3.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Jialat,
yeah.
It's a
jialat,
huge
yeah, and
drop.
a lot of people still think that executive coach can be a full-time thing. So one of the key thing I hope my book can help them to address is really to get their validation. It is no different from when you look at all those lean startup, they go through this customer validation process, right? You validate your market first or not lah. Don't think you turn up, you win half the battle. You think you BTS, man. You turn up, people sure will come to the airport and fetch you, man. So those are things that I believe, especially mid-career people with a lot of chip on their shoulder, they need to really go down to the level and get a sense check law. Yeah. And also a lot of time they would think that, Lim Pei now COO, a lot of street cred. Everyone want to call and sell to me. Well, when I go to the market and be a coach, sure got people call me one. Sorry, the answer is nobody give a shit. Yeah, they give a shit about your title. They don't give a shit about you as a person. Yeah, so they have to differentiate that and to detach. And once you detach that, do you still have the clout to get those business in? So again, you have to do a lot of reality check.
Nice. I think you talk a little bit about validation, right? And to be fair, as an entrepreneur, I think I'm not foreign to this idea, right? You want to test the market, validate that there's a market here, addressable, then you explore whether you want to allocate resources for it, right? But from a cubicle to the CEO, right? Like this type of solopreneur mindset for a lot of people that work all their life, they may or may not get a sense of this thing, right? So how do you go about efficiently validating your market? Because
So-
you lose your job already, right? No more income, right? There's a time span to this thing, there's a burn rate. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So the intelligent way is to get some income of what you intend to do, more so as a side business. Yeah, so you can validate whether there is such a market. And only when the side income has such a high recurrence, then it may cause you to think, hey, actually, this can become a full-time thing. Then that is where you try to pivot. Of course, some people may not have that luxury. Some people just, like in my case, I did not go through that conventional path. My last job, I argued with my boss. Then I say, I quit. Then next day, regret. But already say out, the toothpaste already out, cannot squeeze back in.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Okay. Boss, you sure you want to answer so fast or not?
Yes.
So those are the kind of situation that you may have to come across. And of course, at that point in time, you just have to pray very hard and make sure things work out for you. So in my case, I think for the second time, it does work out well. But at that point, I was actually still one leg looking into the private market, trying to find employment, trying to get into a normal job. But I also put out SOS on LinkedIn to let people know that, I'm thinking of going independent. This is what I can do. Do you think it's something that makes sense? Reach out to me. Fortunately, within a week, I got 3 assignments. Over and above 2 teaching assignments I was doing. So I add it all up. I'm actually making double the income I took in from my last job.
So that was your sign that you could go.
Yeah, that was my sign that I'm like, I really quit. Now I really quit. Now I really can quit already. So I took it as a sign and decided on the self-employment journey. And almost 3 years already.
Yeah.
What do you feel was your biggest hurdle? I mean, income aside, right? What was a huge hurdle for you to overcome as you transited from the role of an employee to a solopreneur?
I think it's family.
How so?
Because when you have a stable income, you are able to cater to the whims and fancy of what your family once. And when a specific pattern is determined, they expect that pattern to continue.
Right.
So suddenly, because not so stable, cannot continue. Those are hard conversations to have lah.
So the adjustments were hard.
Yes.
Was it harder in your view, although it might be biased because we're asking you and not your family, but in your view, was that adjustment harder for you to manage yourself plus your family's expectations or for them? Because even though they knew this, but they still have to deal with a reality.
I think maybe it's harder for them because for my kids, even for the oldest one, he has already been past the phase where we really have to scream like crazy. We have to make ends meet and all that. Because even by the time he arrived, my first business already doing quite well. So everything was okay. But to go through that cycle could be quite tough lah. Why this month pocket money like 少几块钱呢? Less a few $10
Right.
Yeah, so those kind of stuff have to be very upfront, which I actually became very upfront with them because it's easier lah, rather than just keep things on the low down. So I just tell them, hey, this month income not so stable. So, you cannot buy more Robux for your Roblox account. Gotta save money, less eating out. So all these are put onto the table lah, which maybe I'm finding an excuse for myself, but I also feel that it may be good to introduce some hardship for young people at a younger stage to get them acquainted with how the reality of hardship in their adult life.
No, I fully agree. I mean, my own family went through difficult times, right? My
We should
mom
have
was
asked the
laid
kids to
off.
come on the show.
Next round.
A different experience.
Next round. So I was the kid, okay? And my mom also went through when she was retrenched during the Asian financial crisis. And she was also quite upfront about what she could and could not continue giving. Yeah, so a lot of the wants started to get excluded or lesser. But the need, she tried not to let that affect us too much. And as the older child, I appreciated those conversations It made me feel less resentful. Like, last time mommy always buy me this, now don't want to buy. But now I actually understand, mommy got retrenched from her job. Okay, I shall try to see if I can save my own money and buy it, or I go to the library. I wanted books. I like the $5 Enid Blyton books. I used to have every week I buy. Now after that it became if I do well, then she buy for me. Now then I just go library and read, or I stand at popular bookshelf and just read through before someone catches me browsing. Then I have to run away, then go to another popular and continue.
So you are the
book.
reason why there's a no browsing sign.
And all the Eddie Blyton book all kiam cai one.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, why like that one? This one. Yeah.
I think it's important. Yeah, as a kid, I think I appreciate it, and I'm sure your kids will feel the same way.
Nice.
Robux, wow.
Open invite for the kids, but that's a different angle. But I want to kind of dig a little bit into that whole mid-career switch element, right? Because if someone starts as an entrepreneur right from the start, it's to be fair, it's very difficult. But at some point, if you survive, then you kind of understand how this game works, right? You have a better sense of managing this. You're not at first do English, suddenly do Mandarin like that. You're not doing a big transition, and it's not that overwhelming. It's just kind of managing the reality. But from that mid-career switcher point of view into a solopreneur, what do you have for some of these people?
I think, especially in Singapore context, when you're talking about mid-career professionals, right? You are already at a life stage where things are quite comfortable. You may have your own house, mortgage, sending kids to school, car, etc. Which I guess is also reflected in my book, which is why if you look at all the businesses that I've done, my solopreneur attempt and all that, they are all service-based. None of them, only got one is somewhat product, but it's more of a digital product. Why is that the case? Because low capital. I wanted to do something, but I don't have the capital or even the inventory space to store all those stuff, even if I wanted to. So service is the best way to go, which I guess is why there are so many executive coaches because service-based career coaches or consultant, trainer, all these are service-based. Nothing against them because there are very good trainers. There are speakers who are making tons of money, but you have to establish that niche and also you need to know how to market yourself. Many years ago when I remember I was in outplacement or placement agency, and you have people who want to come out to the market. Oh, I want to be a consultant now on IT or whatever. Oh, then give you a name card. And look at name card. Oh, send me gmail.com. Wow, that one to me fail already. Right? So from a marketing sense, they don't really have that. Maybe because in their past job, they were in that silo where everything, marketing department do. Tech support do. Yeah, but when they become solo, when they are self-employed,
All the heads are yours.
everything have to do. You like it or not, you have to learn it. No choice one.
Yeah.
And that is the key thing that I believe a lot of mid-career professionals may overlook. They would think that, no need website one lah, people know me one lah, GoDaddy, no need lah. Word of mouth can already. I always tell people, word of mouth, no matter how you control, it will still be there one. Because it's by virtue of how you react in the market. But everyone also have word of mouth, then how you compete? You have to compete other ways, whether it's through website, again, something else to learn, SEO, again, something else to learn, and of course, the way you position, the way you talk about your own services. So I think those are grossly missing within the mid-career professionals looking to pivot into self-employment, regardless of what they're trying to do.
Fair. Actually, can you help me recount a little bit of your discovery of your niche? Right? Because I think from the market standpoint, people that know you, they're very clear who you are, right? But it's unlikely that it came out from the gate straight away. It's like that, right? So part of the validation thing and figuring out your niche, right? So share with us your personal process of achieving this niche such that everybody know Adrian is this.
So some of it was inherited, some of it was eventual intentionality. So I think it all started when I decided to start my recruitment business. So that is where I become more known in the HR space. Then I went into career coaching, outplacement. I went to HR tech. I went into a company that does HR certification. So across my past 20 years, right, it has always been marketing and selling to the HR department. But again, that did not come naturally. When I decided to put myself out as a content creator, it was all over the place. I was writing about entrepreneurship I was writing about
that
career
phase.
I was even writing about parenting,
Yeah.
which I then spin off into many other websites and all that But I think after a while I realized, every time I meet people, they always ask me the same question. What are you doing now? Because they are so confused. I'm sending a lot of conflicting messages out in the market. Some people think you're this, some people think you're that. Then I recall meeting up with a friend of mine. He was trying to become an angel investor just on HR technology startup. And he was telling me, I wish I have your asset, man. Because I was also covering about HR tech and all. He was saying, if I have your asset, then I'll have a lot of deal flow. That's how he looks at it. Then it got me thinking, maybe I should continue to narrow down my niche. Some of the things that I really don't want to talk about or may not have a competitive edge, I should drop it. So I was talking about entrepreneurship back then. But then I was thinking, entrepreneurship, any Tom, Dick and Harry entrepreneur in Singapore can probably outshine me.
Yeah.
So maybe I should drop that.
Okay.
Parenting, career coaching, all those were out already. So then I just started to focus on HR technology. And that naturally snowballed. Then I created this HR tech market map, and then things just went on and on and on. And I've always been focusing on the marketing aspect of things, how to market, how to help market this group of HR vendors, HR technology vendors. So that's all how it snowballed and reached its current eventual state, where when any HR vendors want someone to help them in marketing, I dare say I'm top of mind for them to look at, which again is why I always encourage people, you need to have that niche but a lot of concern will be, if I define myself so narrow, then other people don't look at me, then how? But I always feel that it's easier to go narrow. It doesn't work, then go wide. Rather than you go wide, then you try to go narrow.
Yeah. You want to be the big fish in the small pond. Then after that, then this pond cannot already, then you wallow into the other pond.
Yeah, exactly.
Very bad analogy.
Okay, can we? So you transited from an employee to a solopreneur. Could you cover some key steps for our listeners on what they should Like, is there a step-by-step framework? I know your book talks about it, you give them a roadmap, but if we were to distill it down even further for the purpose of this podcast, what would be a framework you want them to adopt?
The framework is actually quite extensive because you can even go into the legality of things. Should you incorporate private limited this and that.
Which is where you guys read his book.
You can read the book. We do the big arc.
This is teaser.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller. I shield for you.
Okay, so minus the details out, right? What would be
the
a
coins
good
coming out
framework?
soon. Coins coming out.
You know, that one I cannot shield for that. But please go for it.
So I think if we have to touch on the most important aspect, it's really trying to discover whether this is really the right channel or right pivot for you to make. Because granted, self-employment is not suitable for everyone. It's just like for me or people who are self-employed, employment is not for them. Yeah, so you have to really understand whether you are able to function and operate well in that cloud of obscurity, which
Who
many...
is self-employment not for?
With self-employment, people who are very insistent on, say, doing things in a very specific manner that they are unable to do any other stuff. Like, for example, if I am very good in IT and I'm trying to offer that as a service, that's fine. But then you also have to realize as a business, you also have to market your IT services, right? You also have to do your own accounting, right? All those are skill sets that you have to pick up if you want to at least bootstrap it. Of course, if you are rich from day one and you outsource all the way, that one is perfectly fine. So I think people have to understand you're operating in a world that, yes, you can give instruction, but you give instruction to yourself. Then you still have to roll up your sleeve and do. So people who may not be comfortable in rolling up their sleeve, I think that's where the struggle comes in. So
Right.
I have seen instances where maybe my successor or maybe my predecessor in certain of the retainer work that I took, they are also in marketing, but they came from a background where, last time we're in this corporate organization, they just point finger one. They just, this one we outsource. That one outsource. Outsource. Can is can, yeah. But if people were to look at bringing you on board and then you outsource everything, might as well they project manage themselves. What value are you trying to bring, right?
Yeah.
So that value is what, at least in the marketing world, we call them a T-shaped marketeer. So you are not just broad and project manage, but you have to specialize in some area. Whether it is content, it would be video, writing, etc. So in whatever space you're trying to get into, you have to be comfortable in having your own T-shape, whatever that T-shape
So
is.
people who are I, they're not suitable. If you're a T, then more suitable.
Yes, yeah. You need to make sure that you are able to develop that arsenal of weapons on standby first. So that when you go into the battlefield, you are able to just pull out whatever you need in order to win the battle, depending on how saturated your market could be.
And in your book, you talk a little bit about this readiness framework, right? Solopreneur readiness framework. Everybody has a framework these days, huh? Okay, but
To simplify things.
yeah, it helps to say, okay, fair, right? So what is it about? Maybe you elaborate for our listeners.
So to really go back to it is really to identify, are you ready for this next step in your self-employment journey? There's quite a number of things to cover, but I think one of the key things that many of us may overlook is the financial aspect of things. That one is damn important, very important, because a lot of time planning differs greatly from reality.
Yeah, a lot of time is an understatement. Right?
and then it's not just the financial aspect. A lot of time the financial aspect really hits you mentally. Then you become depressed and all this may even rub off to your family members. Hey, why daddy always the face black recently and all? Then all these kind of things will just start to compound. So I think the financial aspect is one important aspect. But even if you were to go a step back, is the family support. Yeah, the ecosystem, ultimately, why are you doing this? You're doing this, whether it's self-employment or your own job, is to, I guess, provide a better life for your family. If your family is dead against this, does it actually make sense? Yeah, it contradicts already, I'm trying to do this to provide to you, but I want you to go to a job. Argument. Yeah, and then the kids see. So I think all this would just snowball to even worse situation. So I think a family support is important. Honestly, for me, my wife was quite meh about supporting me in this. When I started my recruitment
Wait,
business,
quite meh or quite mad?
quite
Meh.
meh,
Man,
meh,
like
yeah.
anything.
Yeah, she is like what's the term that
Nonchalant.
no there's a term that Goh Chok Tong like to describe Singaporean. Fair weather Singaporean. Yeah, she very fair
okay.
weather about her support one. Wow, times are good lah. I got a lot of assignment lah. Okay,
Woo!
wow, woo.
Adrian,
Times not good
solid.
lah.
It's
I
like,
told you to go and find job, right?
Say.
So the so that can be quite trying lah, especially when in self-employment in your own business, it's always like that one ma. It's never like that one. Yeah, so it require a bit more self-talk, self-motivation, trying to make sure as well to that kind of situation will not occur lah.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. But even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Yep, now back to the show.
So knowing your why is important, getting family support is important, and preparing financially is also important.
Yep.
Are there any other steps in the framework?
I think you have to clear this few first.
This will be the most important
Yeah,
three.
these are the
Yeah.
most important ones.
And you
Now,
can-
having said that, it also depends very much on the situation. Like for instance, when I decided to say I quit, I did not really have the sufficient financial runway, to really test out or to make sure that okay lah, next 6 months, I probably negative 6 months
That's why the
Yeah.
day after you say you regret lah.
Yeah, I regret a lot. Yeah.
So what is a fair runway?
I think a fair runway around 6 months would be good. But of course, the 6 months is also adjusted. You cannot continue to spend like crazy, right?
Of course.
Go nightclub, KTV and all that.
Yeah.
Not saying I do it. So you have to adjust it and make sure that you're able to support everything else. I remember, and I mentioned this in my book, there's this friend of mine who started a HR tech company, and he was already in quite a cushy job. He was a regional director for a business here. He has 3 young daughters. And he told me, I asked him, why you decide to do it? So much risk factor, right? And he said, I actually have a personal 18 months of runway. Yeah, so for the next 18 months, if you don't draw salary and all that, it's okay one. It's okay for him. So the longer the better lah. But I think ultimately it is dependent on what you are also trying to achieve for yourself. I've seen people with unlimited runway, but then it become no motivation.
Yeah.
Got business, oh. Don't have, I can retire one, oh.
That's called retiree, not solopreneur.
That's true.
Yeah, fair. No, and as an entrepreneur, I think a lot of people don't realize the validation period is very non-linear one. If you hit it, you hit it. If not, you really gotta meander.
Yep.
Sometimes this meandering process is long and grueling and so I think 6 months is too short. Personally, as an entrepreneur, I think 12 months, 18 months is probably a better fit.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I'm speaking from my perspective where I look at things more from the service-based perspective. Where things you can kick off from day one.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at a product business, inventory business, I have friends who does that direct to consumer and all. 12 months, 16 months. And you have to battle with logistics, warehousing. That one headache. Kudos to them.
Fair. No, and you even talked a little bit about like while you're at the job, you could probably just kind of test it out already, right? So there's some validation, pre-validation process before you even go into it, right?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And actually, there are many interesting case study about such things. If Phil Knight, the co-founder of Nike, for the longest time, he was an accountant. He was a bookkeeper by day, and then at night, weekend, go to warehouse pack shoes. For them to be sold. So because he was realistic enough that I don't think Nike can last. I better make money on the side to support this business. So if someone like Phil Knight, shoe business, can do it, I really see no reason why anyone else cannot lah.
Don't you think that's a bit of a idealistic view? Because like this is a survivor bias one, right? You also survive, he survived. Then what's the reality check for the people then? How many people will actually make it work if they take down this path that you're talking about as a solopreneur?
They run out.
Yeah. I mean, so I want to hear his view, right?
Okay, can you share like failure stories?
Oh, go.
yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one of them, I tried mentioning it in the book, but it doesn't
Your
fit.
publisher killed the story.
The book is supposed to be
Editor.
inspirational,
Positive,
right?
yeah.
You don't, hopefully open a
It's
book,
like,
read it.
it's
Wow,
like, like wow,
waste my time.
all like fail, leh. Then what am I reading? Okay. Reality check, reality check.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cannot
yes,
be the end. Everyone
Yeah,
died.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys, even if you go and order the book, but this is the one that
Not
did not
within
make
the
it to the
book.
book. So yes,
Yeah,
what is it?
yeah,
Tell
yeah.
us.
But I did find inspiration in her story. So just like all the other case study in the book, she tried going out on her own business, kena by partner, standard lah. Everyone has those journey one. And ultimately she decided, okay, I think enough is enough. I go back to corporate. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it was an entirely wasted process or journey, because there are so many takeaway that she continued to apply in her current role as she's a HR in a EOR, employer on record kind of companies. And she told me even her boss feels that, hey, you are a very different kind of HR person. Because she had been on the business side, she cannot burn before, all those kind of stuff she can actually apply into what she do
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So
But at what point did she decide that enough is enough?
financial runway
Right.
was, their burn rate was too high. They couldn't last. Probably they only had like, I can't remember, 5-6 months of money left. Yeah, kind of situation. So, but if I expand it out and look at some of my older businesses which also did not take off well, like, okay, my first one I exited, but to my partner, so that wasn't a good exit. I left because of partnership issues. I also learned a lot from there. So technically, I wouldn't call it a success, but I learned so much from how to clean a toilet, to invoicing customer, to managing candidate, to doing up contracts. So there's a lot of things that you can learn and pick up along the way, which you subsequently will try to apply into other aspect of your life.
No, and to be fair, right, I think a few of my friends who are ex-entrepreneurs, they went into the corporate space and they're doing so well. Right? I mean, not everyone, okay? Some people, they just like totally 水土不服, right? This is allergy, right? They cannot tahan the corporate space, right? So they left after a while. But for those that can kind of amalgamate and, integrate into the corporate world after that, right? They are indeed a different type of corporate worker. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Adrian, you also talk a lot about like the concept of meaningful work, right? But there are like some people very jaded one. Work is just work, just go there, collect the paycheck. Then meaning is what they do outside of work. So how to gel these two?
Actually, right, I have come to slowly dispute this view, because if people are very clear that they go to work just to make the money, right, they're not very jaded one. They're quite sharp about this one. Yeah, they're like 做工就是做工嘛, right? Then they don't over subject the work with too much expectations, of meaning lah, fulfillment lah, growth lah, all those things. So those people, right, I realize are very clean one, work means work. Then done, I'm done.
Yeah lah, but they
I'm
see
not
the
overly invested in it.
Meaning outside.
Yeah.
But for you, your book, you talk about like meaningful work within the work, right? So how to gel these two separate?
I think for me, maybe again survivor bias lah. Because when I was thinking what to do for my next self-employment, I was reminded of what a few of my friends who said on separate occasion, marketing seems to be your superpower. So I thought of doing something where by virtue of me turning up, I already win half the battle lah. Yeah, it's like, Michael Jordan good in basketball, play basketball lah. Don't care, can go play baseball lah. Chicken now lah. So remain in basketball and continue to do so, and that allowed me to continue to sharpen my craft, and at the same time, of course, able to practice my superpower and show people that I'm actually very good in that. So in a way, I would imagine that to be my purpose. But having said that, I think purpose in today's context very hard and few to come along lah. Especially when business become more and more cutthroat and corporations become more and more profit driven. It can be quite tough to find all this purpose, which I guess one has to find a secondary purpose or joy in life, which I do see in many of my friends who stay in Australia. Yes, they also have work just like every one of us, but they also have a lot of hobbies one. Brew, make beer lah, grow aquatic plants lah, weekend barbecue warrior lah. They have craft lah that keeps them happy.
So why Singaporeans don't do that?
I think it's too easy for us to just throw on Netflix, and also there's a lot of distraction. I feel,
Ban Netflix. No.
because in over here, Clarke Quay 30 minutes. Okay, let's go. Or you try Perth, Australia. Clarke Quay 2 hours drive. I think it's okay lah.
Makes sense.
Okay, interesting. But you know, everyone is talking about doing what you love, right? I mean, meaning is a bit high and mighty lah. Okay? We bring it down to doing what you love and doing what you believe in, you know. And then it's like the high ground, you know. If you say anything else, right, you are wrong, right? So this is seen as the high ground today, right? Where it's like just do what you love, do what you enjoy, do what makes
you happy.
Makes you happy, you know. But when it comes to business, right, there's some reality check, right? So what would your advice be to these people, you know?
I read somewhere that the people who tell you go and do what you love or pursue your passion are already people who are rich. And if you default to Professor Cal Newport, he has written a lot of books on deep work, slow productivity most recently. His adage is don't do what you love or what you're passionate in. Do what you're good in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that.
That is good enough.
You will find love in what you're good at.
Yeah. And importantly, that will give you an edge. Like going back to the Michael Jordan thing. When you struggle and play baseball, your body shape not even suitable for baseball. You can go and play baseball. You struggle like crazy. Nobody's going to pay money to watch you. But even if you just just carry a basketball and pose, already Jordan is $1 billion brand. So I think we have to identify where we are best placed in just by showing up. And then everything else, I think the flow will start to kick in, and then you just go with the momentum.
Fair. I mean, and whatever you've shared, right, it's very survival, right? You've made it, you've gone through this whole thing. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I think a lot of the ideas, I do share them, right? But I want to hear a little bit on that personal, emotional journey, you know, as you were finding the way, right, into this thing. How did it feel, other than the technical elements of it, right? Give our audience a bit of idea. How does the journey feel like from a corporate person becoming their own boss?
So I've been through this journey quite a few times. So if I look at the first time I became a solopreneur when I was doing career coaching, I just exited from my recruitment business. I have firstly a lot of liability, penthouse lah, BMW lah, everything. So my runway already very short, and then I have all these expenses stuff. And career coaching, jiam tan one. 1 hour, $80, $90. You can't make much. So I was struggling, and then it of course affected me mentally. Make ends meet how need put food on table okay lah, drive Uber lah. Yeah. So and it was really tough for me to reconcile with that because last month I was MD of this agency with 29 people. Then now I drive Uber. So it was very trying. And to an extent when I first started, I'm like, I think I better drive at odd hours. Yeah. So you minimize the, possibility.
The chance of meeting the people you know.
Yeah. So I wake up at 4:30 to drive the 5 to 7, then send my kids to school, then go back and try to pretend to be a career coach. And then again 5 to 7 in the evening, those kind of stuff. It was very trying because you were just managing so many things. And for non-drivers, it may not seem like it, but actually driving is very tiring. Yeah, you just sit in the car and then I think it's a temperature change, your alertness and all that. So all this add a lot to you, I think body-wise and all that. And standard lah, when it's stressed or drink more lah. Of course, I don't drive after that. Smoke more.
A lot of caveats.
Yeah, a lot of caveats.
Important. Yeah.
I was smoking like crazy and it was really bad. I remember at one stage, I had trouble sleeping. So almost every day I have to drink. And every morning I wake up cold sweat one. Confirm cold sweat one. Because I know, another day of bill to pay. How do I make sure I can make ends meet? Eventually we start to sell stuff lah. We sold the house, sold the car, all this kind of stuff, and then downgrade, rented. So it was really a trying period in trying to balance, trying to catch up with the previous lifestyle that I had, thinking that I could make it work. But in reality, I should have just dropped that lifestyle and reconcile. And optimize for something that is more future proof rather than looking back.
Was there no moment where, because of how financially trying it was, you just like, let me just go back to my cushy job?
Oh, I did. So my current self-employment, I of course do it through an entity, a private limited, is my sixth private limited. Yeah. So before that, I did bounce around. So after my first business, I then of course going through what I just shared, then went into corporate. But during that until what I'm doing right now, I think you were saying also earlier on, there are some people who 水土不服 one. I was one of those law. I'm unemployable one. Go everywhere. Should argue with people. Gonna fired lah. Should kena all this kind of stuff one. For not following the rules lah. Why you do this lah? So it was very. I remember putting it up on LinkedIn recently, and someone actually commented, "It sounds like you are difficult." Question mark, which is true lah. Yeah, it can be difficult lah. But I think it's also important to note that one of your purpose or objective in life is to disappoint as many people as you can out there, so you don't have to disappoint yourself. Yeah, so that is something that I try to remember. And of course, going back to corporate, which is an easy way out for me back then, didn't work, then try something again, go back to corporate again, try something again. But ultimately, I realized during my last employment, I'm just not suited for a corporate job lah. I did try to go into private sector after that because my last job was more like quasi-government. But I remember the final nail in the coffin happened when the interviewer told me, "Hey, Adrian, I hear that you're a HR influencer." We are quite concerned about your influencer status. So I was already prepped about that because my friend was working for the company. I knew it. But when confronted with that statement, I couldn't really react.
Wait, but why
well
were they
enough.
concerned? Wouldn't it be like positive? Because you had something that others didn't have?
Yes, if you can look at it positively, you can also look at it negatively, where this guy is going to be a loose cannon, going to anyhow say things, then the company kena. So when he mentioned that, and after the call, right, I was thinking to myself, wow, I go back to find a job. It's jumping from one shithole to another shithole. No point lah. So then put up the SOS, and then the rest is history lah. But yeah, it is definitely not a smooth journey. Yeah, so listeners, viewers, don't be mistaken. It's not like that one. Anyone sell you koyo is like that one. Please remember, it is koyo.
Silver bullet
Yeah.
does not exist. Okay. Very, very fair. I really enjoyed the discussion.
We're hearing a lot of like the failures, a fear of failure, bouncing back, overcoming. What are some strategies that you use to overcome all these repeated and multiple failures that you encountered in your journey so far?
I think for me, because I have kids, naturally they are a key motivation.
No time to fail.
no
Just
ti-
go only. Just
Yeah, cannot fail.
go. Cannot fail. Yeah. Cannot entertain anything else.
Correct.
So that's one reason not to just have pets but have kids also lah.
Yeah, that's why government want you to have kids. You have a reason to live.
But on the flip side, of course, by if I did not have kids, or maybe even I did not have a relationship, then also have more bandwidth to do other stuff. So I'm not saying that it is a die must have kid. Your solopreneur readiness index does not mean have kid first. Step one is not have kid first. So it really depends on each and every one of them. And that also means when you look at trying to mirror from other people's success or trying to follow the pathway, it's also very much important to look at the kind of lifestyle that they lead. So in my final concluding chapter in the book, I actually mentioned about this guy which I follow. He's a very solid LinkedIn content person based in US one. So I try to follow some of his tips and all that. Every day write so and so how many times, write how many posts, and then do your LinkedIn reply daily for 1 hour and all that. I'm like, wow, like a lot of time. Then I try to find out more about him. Oh, this guy by design no kids. Then I'm like, wow, I have 4 kids. Where got time?
Yeah.
So I think it is important to mirror the behavior and the success of people who are most similar to yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to find out, okay, the kind of lifestyle. And some people, they don't even eat their own dog food, even worse.
Yeah.
So all this would be very important for you to take note of and try to make sure you start from the best foundation. But when it's really coming back to trying to psych up yourself, it's also trying to remember and often I have to really quieten the negative noise in my head, right, which I think everyone has, the one that keep talking down on yourself and all. Just because maybe this month you're having a bad month does not diminish your value and capability at all. Although your inner voice may say otherwise. But the truth of the matter is it doesn't. It doesn't at all. There's this very good example shared by Tim Ferriss in one of his podcasts. He cited this story about IBM. So there was this IBM salesperson make a big mistake then created a huge loss for the company. So one of the employee asked the boss, are you going to fire him for losing that? Then the boss said, no, I'm not going to fire him. He just made a $23 million mistake. Yeah, I want him to learn from the mistake so that he can make sure that he will do even better next time. So you can look at it as a lesson, but you don't have to look at it as, this is end of the world for me. And it's something that I prescribe, but it's also something that I often have to tell myself because sometimes the inner voice can be so drowning, especially when end of the day, so jaded, down with a flu, it's just very hard to control. But again, just remember, if you are a racehorse at Turf City, which no longer exists, you have to bet on yourself. No one else will bet on you.
Yeah, fair. No, and on that note, right, actually, it's also one of the reasons why, Tan Chuan Jin released the leadership program, right? Immediately asked my guys, go and get him on to talk. Because a lot of people only look at his one point of failure today, right? Which is the freshest point of failure. But have you ever asked yourself, how did this guy even get up to that point? Right? And that is the part I want to learn because he have not processed whatever he failed, but the whole journey in front is not invalidated just because of this one point of failure.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
So Tan Chuan Jin, if you're listening, please come on the show. Very happy to talk to you. And if you know him, please forward to him. Right, because I think the general sense out there is a little bit too one-sided on that. But
I just want to hammer back on that point that you raised because I felt like there was so much wisdom in that, which is that when people try to learn from others or they look to others for inspirations and role modeling, they always forget these other factors. So we look at the person as like from this angle and we think that it's completely achievable because again, that person is an advocate, right? They'll say, yeah, do this, you will succeed. And they have to be very absolute in the way they deliver the statements. Otherwise, no one listening. If you do this 5 times a day, you may succeed. You increase your probability or something like that. Okay, I don't want to listen already.
Your favorite financial guru.
I hate that. But thanks to them, this thing became a thing. I was so annoyed by them that I built this. But yes.
Yeah, it has to be like very absolute. But I think like that's where people, like you pointed out, people forget the other factors that are not seen.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes these other factors have a bigger weightage than whatever that person is saying. Because like time, for example, then you stress yourself out because you say, must do all these 5 things every day. Then you forget, actually, seriously, that person has 24 hours a day. Very free. No spouse, no kids, no dog, no cat, no nothing. Parents also not around already. Really like single person. That's why he can afford to put a lot of time a day. It is only X% of his free time. But I don't have this free time. I got all these things going on. And then if they can contextualize it, the self-talk part then becomes a very different story.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I mean, I've said this before and I want to say it again. Because a lot of people end up falling into what we call seminar junkies, right? They go from one seminar to another seminar, this guru buy their program, everything, right? But so what a lot of people, what I see from a lot of people is they learn the healthcare routine of person A, right? And then they learn the career strategy of person B, and then they learn maybe the mindset of person C, right? And underpinning that, right, they believe that they can take best of person A, B, and C put together, and that's them. But the reality is, person A plus B plus C does not exist, right?
Yeah, you confirm say it on
Fundamentally,
previous episode.
Yeah, it does not exist. So you must subject it to the right probability, and don't think of it as like, oh yeah, I learn here, that I'll become like them. No lah.
Yeah. And then don't be so hard on themselves
Yeah,
if that doesn't come to fruition, right?
I think Morgan Housel said something similar as well. He said we just don't need to. There's no reason why we should be envious of other people. Because if you are envious of someone because of that one attribute, you actually have to ask yourself. You have to accept everything else about that person. If the
Yeah.
person is a 3-time divorcee, then you also have to be like
He
that.
used Elon Musk as the example.
So you have to really embrace everything about the individual. You cannot just cherry pick, oh, I want his face lah, I want his money lah. Like you said, that person doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Which of course is very different from what we see today on social media lah. Everyone is just trying to present that
Everyone
Their
is
best
the
self.
version of himself.
Yeah. Everyone is a LinkedIn top voice.
I'm not. I top noise. Top
Top
noise.
noise. Okay. But I thought I'd bring it up because I feel like there's a lot of high probability of people when they leave the corporate world and then they enter the wild west of solopreneur, right? A lot of them fall into these type of traps.
Yeah.
Buying this program, learning from that person, one-to-one coaching and all that. End up, you shorten your runway. Tons of money lost into these things. Okay, cool. That was great. I think you share a lot of good stuff. And if our audience would like to hear more from you, read your book, where can they reach out to you?
The book, which is an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller. Yeah. 5th time saying this.
It's currently on pre-order, so you can go to Amazon. Also on Kinokuniya, you can search for the book No More Bosses. You should be able to find it without the subtext. I still do my own content on my blog, adriantan.com.sg. Still trying to find time to redo my own podcast, as well as dabble in video, which is something that personally fascinates me. Yeah, but otherwise, this is where you can find me. And also on LinkedIn, please come and follow me so I can become a top
LinkedIn
voice,
voice.
not top voice.
Yeah. And come and join me. You don't need to figure it on your own. Okay? We can figure this out. Cool. Any last things?
No, I thought that was very
Yeah, it's
insightful.
great.
If you guys want to get a copy of the book, please do. Adrian is quite well known in the HR circle. I can definitely attest to that. And he's actually been a KOL before the term KOL was even invented. So this is like the
Lao KOL.
more unfiltered side of him. Because sometimes the works and the readings that you read online, you're like, wow, very filtered. Then you hear him on a podcast, very different. There's more nuance, there's more subtext. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go check out that book. Make it an Amazon bestseller times 100 times 1,000.
Classic.
That one need 20 years. You become classic. Need time. By the time you retire, you'll get there.
Yes, and we'll link to in the comments below Adrian's last episode with us for those of you who want to see and learn from his previous contact. So yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you, Adrian, for joining us today.
Thank you.
See ya.